And we've come to call Africa home. When you look at the dawn and it's an African dawn, and we feel like we feel, those we're African born, and we're proud, and we're home. We are Africa's children.
Secret Service, the country's most elite security force, dedicated to protecting the most powerful man in the world. It is virtually impossible to break through their perimeter, unless
you've got a traitor in your organization. There's a role in the Secret Service.
You're already on the inside.
You're being investigated for treason. Why would I want to kill the president? I'm following the evidence. I've given my entire life to the Secret Service. You better start thinking about what?
I think that I asked Michael at one point why we were shooting in the Middle East, and why we picked such a easy place to shoot. And he said, well, when I was asked to do a sequel to Romancing the Stone, all I could remember was how wet it was when we were shooting the Romancing the Stone in the rainforest, and I wanted to go somewhere warm and dry. Warm and dry. A few weeks later, we moved to the Sahara Desert, and it was 120 degrees, and everybody's working in this sweltering heat. I kept looking at Michael and saying, warm and dry.
The picture was filmed predominantly in Morocco.
Morocco? Yeah. My God, that was really rough.
Well, he knew we were like, sucking wind, man. We were dusting.
No, it was not glamorous.
It was a little scary to have to live up to the standards of Romancing the Stone. Romancing the Stone had set the bar really high.
We had a lot of fun with the first movie, and the second movie was more fun.
And it was great to be back with Michael and Harry.
You form a bond on pictures like that in foreign countries. We've got a lot of good memories together.
The day that I flew out of Morocco, I just started crying. I was so relieved to be getting out of there.
And that's a really good question. Why do a sequel? Let me just say that that's the only time I've done it in my entire career. it seemed it was built in, and we felt that there was a lot of opportunities to explore another story with the Jewel denial. Some of the difficulties, you know, Diane Thomas, who had written Romance in the Stone, was a very successful screenwriter in her own right, and she was not available.
When the word got out that they were looking for a sequel to Romance in the Stone, and we talked to our agent at the time, the first thing he said was, "You'll never get that." We had just completed our first movie. It was called Legend of Billie Jean. Michael Douglas had read a copy of our screenplay and contacted our agents. And we had a preliminary meeting with him, and then we sat down and said to ourselves, well, it wasn't mean to do a sequel to Romance in the Stone. The stone, the jewel, which is such a great MacGuffin. I mean, MacGuffin is a old screenwriter's term, which means the thing that everybody is trying to get. And Diane Thomas came up with this great MacGuffin, which is this wonderful visual jewel. And Michael had been talking to many writers, and I remember being incredibly nervous walking up the stairs into the executive office. One of the things we came to learn about Michael, he is very warm, and he makes it very easy to talk to him. This is not always the case in Hollywood. But he welcomed us in, he sat down, he said, "What do you got?" And we began to tell him the story, and as soon as we said, the thing that Michael and Kathleen and Danny are going to fight over is the Jewel of the Nile, and we saw his face kind of drop a little bit. He was thinking we were going to say this gem, and we said, and the Jewel of the Nile is a sacred holy man. And he said, "It's a man?" And we said, "Yeah." And he thought for a second and said, "That is very cool." When our agent called us up and said, "Hey, Michael really liked what you said," we spent the rest of our time, short time with that agent, reminding him that he told us he would never get the job.
Look, I can't talk anymore. I think somebody wants to use the phone. Look, I gotta go. And if I gotta go, you gotta go.
There was enormous pressure. When the studio greenlights a movie like Jewel of the Nile, as they slot it into the theaters.
Just jamming to make a schedule, we jumped on it fairly quickly.